Hello, Clement229 here with another Topic of the Week video. If I'm sounding a bit off, it's because I'm feeling a little sick. So my voice sounds a little wrong. It's because I'm not feeling all that well. But I must do this because I am a dedicated person. So I got a topic the other day, and I saw it, and I'm just like, yes. It's a video game topic, and I know I just did a whole month of video games, but I can't pass this topic up, and I just have to do it now. So, an anon on Tumblr sent me a topic submission, and they asked, the prototype game series in general, why you liked the first one, why you hated the second one, how you think James Heller compares to Alex Mercer as a character, and how you would have revised it. Also, was there anything at all you liked in the second one? Anon, you're asking all the right questions. Okay. I played a prototype at college on a friend's Xbox 360. I didn't own a 360. I mean, I own one now, right over there, but I didn't have one at the time. So I went over to his dorm room, and I would play prototype for an hour or two, or a while, if, you know, if no one was there and I could just chill out the whole time. Because that's what you can do in college. Just walk into someone's empty room and start playing video games. But, I was surprised about how much I liked Prototype. I knew about the game for a while, ever since it came out. And I knew about the whole Prototype versus Infamous debate. And to be honest, after playing Infamous a bit, I was bored as hell with that 5 minutes into playing it. And I also played Prototype before that, so the ability to not just run straight up walls of buildings was very much missed. I had a lot of fun with Prototype. Sure, the game got a little wonky. The story had a few plot holes in it, with some characters like Raglan and Dana just disappearing in the end game. Like, it's near the end of the game and there's just no mention of them. They're just gone. Cat scratching at the door. What's a man to do? But I really did enjoy the story. I love the story. And I will spoil it. I will spoil it, and I will spoil Prototype too, because I need to talk about that to talk about what I loved and what I hated about in the second one. So, I played Prototype 1, and I wasn't expecting much more than a gory action game. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, gore, I can get past that. And okay, Alex Mercer seems like a pretty cool character. Sitting there, and then I got to the plot twist, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I saw there's just some things that give me just a plot-gasm, just such good storytelling. And I'm just sitting there, and I didn't expect Alex Mercer to actually be a living embodiment of the blacklight virus, who took over the real Alex Mercer's corpse, and actually turns out to be a better person than the original Alex Mercer. Like, the pretty much psychopathic, mass murdering blacklight virus, aka Zeus, is a nicer person than human Alex Mercer. And when you find out that you're not really Alex Mercer, I was sitting there like, I was shocked. Like, very few things shock me like that. I mean, very few things. And in a good way, too. I mean, there are good plot twists, and good plot twists that I don't see coming. There are a lot of good plot twists that I do see coming, a lot of them that I can figure out or unfortunately have been spoiled to. And then there's some bad plot twists that are just make me go, which Prototype 2 is full of. But that left me such a good impact on me. And then you have the Web of Intrigue. So the Web of Intrigue deals with, you have to go and kill these certain people and take some of their memories so you can piece together this big story that's going on behind the scenes. And you can get all these little bits, and you can find out things, and it starts implying some stuff that you didn't expect, like, taking that Karen Parker was actually more probably strong-armed into betraying Alex? I'm sorry, I got a text. But yeah, I mean, excuse me. Yeah, when I was playing it, I got really into the Web of Intrigue, and eventually I just kind of stopped because, you know, I moved on to another game. Because, I mean, I did a decent amount of the Web of Intrigue, but then it kind of got a little boring. I watched the rest of the web. I watched all the Web of Intrigues online. I believe I found a YouTube video that compiled all of them. And, you know, you can get a little bit about Hope from 1960 or 1963 or 4 or something like that. Hope, Idaho or something. That town that ended up getting nuked because they were testing the blacklight virus back then. But yeah, there's just all this backstory and this little lore in the series with the Black Watch. Then you have the Gentech. I believe it's called Gentech. It's been a while since I played the game. I played the game in like 2010 or 11. And I believe the company is Gentech. Yeah, Gentech. I was right. I remembered right. And you know, you have all this story going on, and I'm like, oh, this is so interesting. And then it leaves a few cliffhangers at the end, especially concerning the fate of Karen Parker. And one thing that really fascinates me, I adore this part of the game. Alex Mercer grows a conscience. He, for some reason, gets super attached to Dana and becomes a super protective big brother to her. And I love that. It's like she was one of the only things he could remember. And he got super attached to her and protective of her. And I will kill you if you hurt my sister. And it was great because the original Alex Mercer never cared about her. And that's so heartbreaking that he hadn't talked to her in like 5 years at all. And then comes back and all he wants her to do is do him a favor. And it's just like, dude. And then he ends up launching the blacklight virus. And the real Alex Mercer is the source of it. And, oh, criminy, this story. Like, I am not kidding. This is one of my favorite stories in video games. It doesn't have faults, but there's so much you can do with a sequel. So when I heard that they announced Prototype 2, I was excited as hell. I was gonna hope we get to see Raglan again, find out what happened to him, Dana again, then, you know, see what Alex Mercer is going to do, see if he's really going to take things down. I'm getting excited, and then. So then I still didn't have an Xbox 360. I didn't have the means to play it, and I thought I was just going to watch a playthrough of it online, you know. I was so excited, and I had my own theories of how Prototype 2 was going to play out. Excuse me. This is basically what I based my my revise, because I actually did come up with a rewrite. I actually do want to, at some point, do a comic that basically continues from Prototype 1 and shows the story, how I would have done it. Because when it announced that there was going to be a new character that you were playing as, James Heller, and that he was deaf, and the way, like, I was excited because James Heller looked like he was going to be such a cool character, because especially the trailers and his entire character, like these bios before the game came out, were all very much focused on him being a family man. He lost his family, and he just loses it. He becomes a death seeker, and he's given these powers, and you're thinking, oh, what's he going to do? Is he going to atone? So it's like, so I thought that Black Watch, and he's like, you're supposed to be fighting Alex Mercer. So I'm like, oh man, this is going to be so great. Now we're going to see Alex Mercer from a different perspective. You know, because from the certain point of view, Alex Mercer can be very easily played as a bad guy, despite the fact that he's really, like, especially if he didn't go around killing civilians like I did, because I didn't like killing civilians. I tried to keep my consuming to the zombies and, you know, those other schmucks. I tried to, you know, Alex Mercer is morally gray, at best. He's a sociopathic hero. But he's growing a conscience, and I found this really cool fic. I found prototype fanfiction. I actually love this game so much, I actually went and found fanfiction for it. There's this excellent story that has, I believe, he talks about the voices in his head. He's basically hearing all these people he's consumed. So this fic shows him basically transforming into this one soldier, and he's basically going to his wife and basically giving her closure to his death. And he's been doing this slowly, and this makes me think straight up of Hohenheim from Full Metal Alchemist, talking to all the people whose souls he has. And he talks about how that one voice stopped screaming. And I was just, I love this idea. It's like Alex Mercer doing nice things for people. Yes, character development. It's one of my favorite things is character development over the course of the game. Oh my gosh, but I'll get to that in a minute when I compare him to James Heller. So, I thought James Heller was going to be... we didn't have an explanation for why Alex Mercer infected James Heller. So I was still waiting for an explanation, but he obviously infects James Heller. Then Heller is basically taken by Blackwatch and said, alright, you need to go kill Alex Mercer. And it's already great because Heller already has this vengeful grudge against Mercer for being the cause of the death of his family. And because he was overseas when the virus struck, so there's nothing he could do. And oh my gosh, it was like, I was loving the direction of the story. So I thought you were going to be playing, you're trying to fight Mercer, Alex Mercer's Blackwatch, while working for Blackwatch, and you're being told all these lies because, like Cross was in the first game, because you did find out that Cross was basically only told things that fit his worldview. So he was basically manipulated into doing all this, and he's actually a decent guy. I like Cross. Cross is one of my favorite characters, just because he's not really good. He's not evil. He's lawful neutral, really. But he's on the bad guy's side because he believes they're the good guys. And oh my gosh, and once he realizes that they're bad, he teams up with Alex Mercer. And oh my gosh. I get really excited about Prototype. I don't talk about it much. And I really don't even talk about my criticisms of Prototype too much. But I do love Prototype. Maybe you couldn't tell. Well, and then I thought, about midway through the game, you would probably, realize, oh, I'm working for the bad guys, and you would team up with Alex Mercer, and then you would fight Blackwatch and Gentech and finish them off once and for all, right? Right? That's what they did, right? Wrong on everything. They literally did the worst thing you could possibly, oh my gosh. When I was actually watching that playthrough of Prototype 2, I was sitting here pulling my hairs out of my head like, you guys didn't even try to write a good story. There's no depth to it. Oh my gosh. First of all, I hate James Heller. James Heller was such a disappointment of a character. Like, I actually argue that man is more sociopathic and evil than Alex Mercer is. Or was in Prototype 1. Because in Prototype 2, all of a sudden, Alex Mercer, with absolutely no explanation, is this gallivanting, monologue-spewing villain who wants to take over the world. And I'm sitting here like, he sacrificed himself to save Manhattan. He literally took an atomic bomb and flew it out to the middle of the ocean. And only survived through the sheer force of his powers. So I also don't buy the fact that Mercer could be killed by Heller when the man survived an atomic bomb. But Heller is basically a good example of protagonist-centered morality. This man basically... Okay, I legitimately thought Heller was losing his mind. I legitimately thought his mind was broken down and he was turning into nothing but a ravenous monster. When he finds out that his daughter is alive, and it's just like, he's just like, my daughter. And I'm just sitting here like, whoa, 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 you've been sitting here screaming, you're going to murder everyone. And it was just like, and then he's just like, oh, my daughter. I'm like, my daughter? I need my daughter. It's like, no, whoa, 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 where did this come from? Like, I was legit expecting him not even to react to that. He was just be like, I need to kill Mercer. I'm just sitting there like, such insanely inconsistent characterization for him. Because if you're going to make him the family man, give him that everyman, you know, family values character who's having to deal with these horrid powers and killing people that are even worse. Like, give him that. But no, they just have him kill stuff. And this is the thing. They make Blackwatch and Gentech so cartoonishly evil. Like, they were bad. They were bad. But, you know, they weren't straight up 100% evil. You know, it's like they weren't such cartoons. I mean, in the outfits, like in the first game, Blackwatch wore you know, military style gear. But in this one, they have like these hoods with these like weird armor, and it looks like something out of a cartoon. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, you're turning this into a joke. Like, for all the improved graphics and the new gameplay, which I honestly think they limited gameplay. I can't be sure. I haven't actually played Prototype 2, and I never want to. But I'm just... And, you know, the cutscenes have this really cool stylized view to them. Like, they have this black and white, but the color red is always shown in color. So when, like, the jackets have, like, red, glowing red on them, and then it's a really cool stylistic effect. And I totally support the choice to give us stylized cutscenes. Even though the first game didn't do that. I'm totally cool with that. But the characterization of these characters was awful. And apparently, there was a comic series that had Alex Mercer. Now, first of all, I have to complain about these comic series because this comic series is an absolute insult to Alex Mercer's character. So first off, he leaves for a year. He leaves Manhattan for a year to go soul searching. He leaves Dana, his sister, the one person he cares about most in this world, alone in Manhattan while there's still a virus going on, to go soul searching. And supposedly he fell in love with a human woman. Her dad tried to kill him, and he ended up killing both of them and going, humanity is completely irredeemable. I will turn this whole planet into the black light virus. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, they Albert Weskered him. I'm like, you took a really interesting character and you turned him into nothing but some global domination psycho who's a complete idiot. And this plot doesn't make sense because you find out that supposedly James Heller has this special like DNA or something that prevents him from being consumed or whatever. Which, if he's supposedly immune to this blacklight stuff, how the hell can he get infected with the blacklight virus that gives him these powers that are just like Alex Mercer's? Alex Mercer is just straight up evil in this. And when he was gallivanting in the beginning of the game, I thought, oh, okay. I mean, he's probably putting on a show. Because, you know, he might be putting on a show, you know, for Blackwatch, right? No, it's like, and James Heller doesn't even work with Blackwatch at all. He's in a facility, and then they're just like, okay, we're gonna try to kill you now. I'm just sitting here like, what? Yeah, they try to kill him or something, and then he leaves, and then he's working on his own, and then he has that preacher hacker friend. And he works with some people, and he gets betrayed by a bunch of people, and I'm just... Now, to start with, before I get into the things how I would fix this. Because, yeah. Also, you find out that after you consume Alex Mercer, you get his memory. And it's literally of him basically telling Dana to go screw off. And I was just sitting there. I was freaking raging. I was raging at that part. Like, you do not destroy Alex's one super 100% positive relationship. No. I love these family relationships. And okay, so before I get into my review, I want to talk about things I did like about Prototype 2. It does have a couple things that it's okay with. Now, if I'm remembering things correctly, I'm looking this up on the wiki to see if I can make sure, since I haven't seen the game in like 3 or 4 years since it came out. I did like a couple of the characters. There was Rooks. I believe Rooks was the guy who's in command of Blackwatch with the death of... Rooks assumed control of Blackwatch operations. And if my memory is right, and I'm thinking of the right character, he seemed like a pretty solid guy. And I like the fact that there was a decent person in charge. I wish this meant something and wasn't just a completely near irrelevant fact. And, I want to say I liked Lieutenant Riley. I'm not sure. And I can't even recall if Riley was actually a good character or if I created a new character for him. Because the version that I created is actually a sympathetic version of him. But whatever. And then there was that business lady who worked at Gentech. Let me see if I can find her name. I honestly liked her character. Oh yeah, 1969 Hope. Hope Idaho, yeah. It was 1969. Oh, yeah, and... Oh, yeah, I'm going through Alex Mercer's wiki page, and it's talking about him losing faith in his travels, and it's just, why the hell would he even leave Manhattan? There's still a hell of a lot to take care of there. Anyway... Oh, another thing I have to criticize about, Prototype 2, aside from the other crap, is that you meet Alex Mercer's evolved, and these are people that he has given some powers to, which first off I have to question. How can he just give these powers to random people? This game doesn't run on logic, it runs on whatever the hell the writers find convenient. The first time, oh my god. The first time you meet an evolved, it's a big deal. They make a big deal about it. And then it becomes almost a running gag that whoever you're looking for is going to turn into an evolved. And it's going to be one of Alex Mercer's spies or whatever. And this happens so often. I was literally when they're going through, and it's like, you need to find Sergeant Douchebag. I'm like, I bet he's an evolved. He gets there, pops out his arms, he's like, and you find him, and it's like, it's not even a big deal anymore. It's like, what's the point? But yeah, Sabrina Galloway, I believe that's CFO Gentech. Yeah, her. I actually like maybe I like the idea of her character, and I like the idea of Alex Mercer having an ally within Gentech who was working with him. But, you know, but of course, you know, her being, like, turning out to be evil was, like, stupid. But yeah, in all honesty, there's so much of this game that is completely irredeemable. Oh yeah, and have I talked about the ending, that after Heller kills Mercer, he literally just like shoots tendrils all over the city and just like absorbs all the virus? That happens out of freaking nowhere with no explainable reason. There's nothing happening. I believe Dana is just like, oh, what's going on? What do we do now? Because it's just like, Oh, and I also like Athena, or the code name Athena that Dana took, and how she's, you know, sort of a resistance, I guess. I also want to know what the hell happened to Raglan. What the hell happened to Raglan? So, alright, so I believe topics. Oh, I'm supposed to compare James Heller to Alex Mercer. Okay, so one thing I really loved about Alex Mercer's character is that he starts off being a complete and utter uncaring psychopath. He doesn't really know even what's her name? Karen Parker, his girlfriend. Alex's girlfriend. But when you get to hunt her down at the end, and then it fades to black, so we don't see what happens to her. Her fate is left a mystery. And then Activision is just like, afterwards in the prototype, they're like, oh yeah, she's dead. She's never coming back. Way to waste a character there, Activision. But James Heller, I thought James Heller was going to be a more human character than Mercer. Mercer had lacked a lot of human compassion simply because he wasn't human. He was literally a sentient virus. But as he consumed people, he started taking their minds, and he ended up forming a conscience from that, and he ended up having some humanity to him, even if he isn't human. And the course of the game, you see this, you know, and it's not like Shakespeare or anything, but you know, it's just character development, and I love that. James Heller starts off, you're told he's a good person, and the first time you see him, he's just like, I go kill things. Then Mercer infects him, and he's just like, I kill things. I'm angry. Which is sort of like Alex before, but, you know, even more disappointing because we don't actually... It's like, and then when his daughter turns out to be alive, it's like he suddenly does a 180 and it's just like, I care about my family again. It's like, yeah, you were completely obsessed with the revenge, and all of a sudden, no, everything's fine now. My wife is still dead, but, you know, my daughter's here, so I'm going to fight for my daughter. It just... But Heller just did not feel like a good character. I did not like his character. I didn't even sympathize with him. The man lost his wife and daughter, and I didn't sympathize with him. That's how awful Heller was. I said I consider him almost more sociopathic than Alex, and I think that's because that's one of the reasons they had to make Alex so bad in Prototype 2, just to justify Heller being the hero. It's just like Nathan Drake in the Uncharted series. Nathan Drake is such a scumbag and a completely morally gray anti-hero, emphasis on the anti, who will kill anyone who doesn't even care. Oh, except when his conscience catches up with him and he's just like, well, I can't kill these people, but I'm still going to throw them off of 300-foot cliffs. But don't worry, there's water down there, so they'll survive. So they have to make these villains completely psychotically evil just so that Nathan Drake gets to be the hero. Because if these villains had any kind of real point, Nathan Drake would be the villain of the story. And the man, I believe highly, is an actual legitimate sociopath. And that's the problem we have here. You need to create a villain so pointlessly and cartoonishly evil just to make your protagonist look good. And so they destroyed Alex's character and all his character growth just to make Heller look good. Heller is a bad character. Heller is truly wasted potential. And it is truly sad that he didn't get to be as good of a character as I thought he was. I mean, my ideas that I had from before I even before I got to check the game out were 100 times better than what we actually got. So, alright, so how would I have revised it? Okay, so there's a lot of story that'll happen before the actual game starts. So Heller's character is generally the same. He lost his wife and daughter in the 2 years ago when the virus broke out. And then he blames Alex Mercer for it. It's partially a little bit of a carefully edited information that made it look like Alex Mercer and Zeus are the exact same person, even though they're, if you know what's going on, they're not. So Blackwatch is using him and his great combat skills to get him to kill stuff for them. So while in the red zone, and I do like the idea that they've basically quarantined it so you have a green zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone. I like this. I think this is a cool idea. Because, you know, it shows progress that they managed to at least clean out one section, and they're in the process of cleaning things up, and then there's just one section that said this is really dangerous. And it's not like a prototype 1 had it was constantly changing on the map in completely random ways. To clear it out, you had to go into that building and destroy all the yada yada stuff. But Alex Mercer would pop up and seem almost uncharacteristically friendly, and he would infect Mercer, or infect Heller, who's confused as all hell why that would happen. Blackwatch takes Heller while he's, transforming, and he would and they would basically trick him into fighting for them. So for the first part of the game, you're fighting for them, and then these clues start happening, and maybe his preacher, hacker, friend, or whatever is still good, or maybe he just works with Dana, because I really love Dana's character. And then he eventually he breaks off and starts fighting, starts fighting them, and then I like the idea that Rolks is actually a decent guy, and he just can't keep a control on everyone, and there are still a bunch of people who are functioning off of the old logic of let's just do stupidly evil things and then blow it up when things go wrong. Now then you start noticing things. So you're following this plot, and you're following Alex Mercer, and you're trying to fight Alex Mercer, and Alex Mercer is basically saying, bro, we're allies here. And then it's just like, no, I'm going to kill you. And he can't kill Alex Mercer because Alex Mercer rocks. So eventually it gets to a midway point of the game, and then you have to stop this transport, and this is where for me the big twist comes in. You stop it, and it's this unit comes out, and it bursts open, and out walks Alex Mercer. So you're sitting there, there's an Alex Mercer there, and there's an Alex Mercer right next to him. Now, if anyone's watched that one movie, what was it? The Forbidden Kingdom? It was with Jet Li and Jackie Chan. If anyone's watched that with, where the Monkey King actually sends out a strand of his hair and creates a doppelganger of him, that's Jet Li, to basically help him escape from his imprisonment. That's basically what this happens. He basically sent an offshoot of himself that was essentially created an alternate personality clone of all these different people in his mind, and he basically creates a new person from that to help him get out. Now this one doesn't have the sheer power that the real Mercer does, so he needed to infect someone, which was Heller, someone who had nothing else in his life and was basically completely suicidal. So he basically tries to get them, It ends up getting manipulated, and then there's other stuff with other characters. And then something weird starts happening. Heller starts going a little off the ramps. And Alex Mercer is helping him out. They do find information that his daughter is still alive. But something weird starts happening is that Heller just starts losing it. Oh, I forgot. A pariah is in it. This is something that I'm pissed off that they didn't include. This kid is such a big part of this lore. And he's just not involved at all. Okay, so Heller would actually, out of ignorance, would actually go and release Pariah. In a similar way that Alex Mercer released, was it Elizabeth Green? Green. I know her name was Green. And she started causing all sorts of trouble. So Pariah does this, and Pariah's a kid. Pariah's very powerful. And Pariah basically, he's upset that Alex killed his mom. And he does start taking control, and there's this whole plot, and you end up fighting him, and you basically end up stopping him, but you don't kill him. He's just a kid. Alex Mercer can't bring himself to kill a kid to show really how far he's come in his life as a character. They do contain him, but he does try to get away, even though he's been severely weakened. The monsters and the hunters and stuff would protect him because he can control them. And Alex does try to fight him using his own control, but that's more subplots. But like I said, then at some point Heller starts losing it, and the plot line I'm actually inspired by, the real Prototype 2. Heller literally just loses his mind. He actually goes completely psychotic and becomes so obsessed with killing Mercer that even when his daughter is right in front of him, he can still only think about killing Mercer. And once he goes crazy, then the game flips and you're playing as Alex Mercer again, and you have to fight Heller. Well, you have to do stuff, and then you end up fighting Heller in the end. And then there's this big, and they had this bomb, and I'm using I think it was the bio bomb or whatever. It's a special movie Prototype 2, where you can where basically Mercer's trying to cure the city. So they end up coming up with this special white light cure that, what's her name? Sabrina Galloway ends up helping him with, since she's CFO of Gentech. And they basically replace any extra things with this new white light. And they have this special, massive bomb. And at the end of this epic fight between Mercer, I would imagine, if you know the fight between Zod and Superman in Man of Steel, I'm thinking more of before Zod started flying, because at that point it got stupid. But I'm talking there's this big epic fight. They're running up in buildings, they're smacking each other down in craters. And just a big epic cutscene happens after you're fighting, and in between these parts of the fight, it's just, I want it to be an epic finale. And eventually Alex Mercer kills Heller, or beats Heller down, and beats Heller down, and he sticks his bomb inside of him and then just punts the hell out of him. And it explodes, and then there's white light going everywhere. And then you have to outrun the cloud. You have to outrun across all the buildings to get away from the white light, or because Alex Mercer is probably going to die. Since he is black light. And he finds Pariah. I guess that might be a subplot you can do after the game, but yeah, he goes back and then he finds Heller in missing chunks of his body from the explosion, and he's still psychotic, still trying to kill Mercer. And Mercer he gives him a mercy kill. He kills and consumes him, and he sees him leaving for its deployment overseas, and just to give that heart-wrenching ending and the true tragedy of his character. That it's just there could have been this true tragedy, but it was not. And then you could find Pariah, and Pariah is basically struggling to stay alive because he's been infected. He was born to being infected with the blacklight virus, and Alex Mercer takes him and he helps him. And I love this idea that he helps Pariah. But those are ideas that I had. That's how I would have revised it. And I do actually want to write a comic about it. Oh, I also forgot. There's a whole stuff going on before because Karen Parker's still alive. And what happens, though, is they start a resistance group called Olympus. Now, let me look this up because there's something I found. Now, I found this great tale in Greek mythology. It was a story, and I felt it was super relevant. So, of course, it works because Alex is Zeus, codename Zeus. Now, let's see. It's the one about the chair. Let me. Okay, so in Prototype 1, since Ragland helped rid Alex of the parasite that he got onto him after, Alex rescued Ragland, and then he ended up helping get the parasite after Karen Parker's betrayal. This is about where Hera basically ties Zeus to his chair. They tied Zeus tightly, making 100 knots, and took his thunderbolt. Then they successfully, because he lost his powers. Then their successful plan was over, and they started arguing what to do next and become the leader. Yada yada. Briareus, one of the three Hecatoncheires, who Zeus had freed from Tartarus, overheard the conversation and realized Zeus was tied. He immediately sneaked in and started untying each knot at the same time with his 100 hands. And then he freed Zeus from the chair. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, we can take this so much further. So Zeus is Alex. Briareus is Ragland. Hera is Karen, who in the end Alex did not kill. He basically scared the hell out of her and basically says that he's above just this petty revenge killing. And eventually Karen does join their group, and then of course you have Athena as Dana. And I like that idea, and I said I liked this before, and this is why I actually came up with this whole expanded idea of it, where Karen actually does end up coming to terms with who Alex is and what happened, and I'm going to delve more into her character, and I would have this whole comic series, and I do want to do this. I actually have plans to do this at some point, where you actually have all these events that happen, and you see it, and you see it happen, and you have and then you have like the Olympus resistance group fighting against Blackwatch and Gentek and trying to rid the city of the virus, and and all that leads into Prototype 2. So honestly, I couldn't help it. I really Karen and Alex, like Blacklight Alex. Honestly, I do want her to realize that real Alex never actually cared about her. At least not enough to think about her when he was going to set the city ablaze with the virus. And that this new Alex is actually better. Even though he's an inhuman eldritch abomination, but that's neither here nor there. Those are my revised ideas on what I would do with the story. And I really would love to get around to drawing that. And I even came up with this whole subplot about a CIA officer who ended up getting betrayed. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot this one important character. Geez, I'm just forgetting stuff with this. So there's a character called Cross, and you're sitting there and you're like, wait a minute, there's a Cross in the first one. Who's this? He's fully like in this suit. He's got this mask covered, and think something close to like Zero from Borderlands 2, something similar to that, but you know, less stylized. And he he has a grenade launcher on his arm, and he has an electrostat, and he has like electric weapons and stuff. And you're thinking, what is this guy? And he has like superhuman abilities, and he identifies as Cross. Now, he was basically the result of Blacklight and Gentek wanting to create a new Agent Cross, because he died in the first game. So they basically took a soldier, one of their best soldiers, they brainwashed him into being Cross. They're almost robotic soldiers, so they didn't have to bother with morality. Infected him with a specially developed strain of the Blacklight to give him hyper-enhanced abilities. And then, and basically sent him out to fight and, do what Cross used to do. And Alex, I actually like the idea that Alex had become really, basically, he really kind of respected Cross. So he feels like this new guy calling himself Cross is an insult to the original Cross's memory. And he ends up being a antagonistic force throughout the game, just like the original Cross was. But eventually, near the end of the game, you fight him, and he does start regaining his memories of his old self. But he's basically in completely immeasurable pain. But since he has the Blacklight healing, he's not dying. So he's constantly in this utter like cancerous growth, and he's horrible. It's awful. He's in pain, and then he basically wants Alex to mercy kill him. And there's a lot of sad stuff in this story, but Alex, does kill him out of, to respect his wishes, that he wants to die, on his own terms. But yeah, I almost can't believe I almost forgot Cross. Oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite new characters that I created. But yeah, there's some other stuff with it, but that's all the main stuff to it. So yeah, those are my ideas. And first prototype, despite the fact that it had some stuff with it, and it had some issues, was still good, and still laid a lot of great groundwork. It was all tossed in the trash with prototype too. Well, and I think that's about it for today, and my voice is really starting to hurt. So I'm going to end it here. So if you do want to submit a topic, if you're on Tumblr, just send me an ask and do topic, then ask me whatever you want. Or if you're on YouTube, just comment below and say what you want me to talk about. Just remember that it's over something fictional, and it's something specific enough that I can talk on. Something like this that gives me a few specifics. So, thank you for watching.